After a year of learning Godot, I finally finished my first full game, or at least the demo of it. It's called Checkout Champ, and it's a fast-paced, mobile-friendly puzzle game where you start out bagging groceries with the hopes of earning a promotion and impressing your boss. As this is my first devlog, I wanted to share a bit more about the game, how I made it, and where I might take it next. The core of Checkout Champ is all about speed, organization, and managing space. Each level represents one day. At the end of each week in every 5 levels, there's a VIP customer who will have special packing requirements that you need to meet. But more on this in a minute. During each regular level, customers come through the checkout with different items, and your job is to pack them into bags as quickly and cleanly as possible. What items they bring is completely random, and it was actually one of the main challenges of developing the game, which I'll get into later on. Some items are bulky, some are fragile, and each bag type has different strengths and weaknesses. For example, plastic bags are the standard do-it-all bag type, whereas paper bags are weaker and can break if overloaded. But by using paper bags, you earn a small bonus at the end of each round. You're constantly juggling time, what bag to use, and the different items coming down the belt. Now, VIPs are basically boss rounds in traditional games. At the end of the tutorial, you'll meet Fragile Flora, who wants all her glass jars and eggs packed in a paper bag. These are really fragile items, so if you break enough of them, the round is over and you lose. The demo also includes 1 week of regular play, where at the end of it, you'll encounter Hasty Harold. He's in a mad rush and won't wait around. During his level, the regular clock timer turns into his wristwatch, with the time starting with only just a few seconds instead of the regular minutes in regular play. The time goes up every time you bag an item. Currently, you get 2 chances to restart each time the timer runs out on Harold's level. On the 3rd try though, you lose and you need to restart. VIP customers like Flora and Harold force the player to play differently and adapt their strategy. Outside of the demo, I've already created more VIP customers, such as ones that need you to pack items quietly, in a symmetrical way, or ones that won't let you use certain bag types. Each one introduces a new mechanic or challenge, and they were honestly one of the most fun parts to design. At the start of each level, you're greeted with this screen where you can buy upgrades and boosts to help with your future rounds. There are temporary boosts like Bubble Wrap, which you need to activate during the level. Now, Bubble Wrap protects items one time from taking damage. There's also a permanent version called Super Bubble Wrap that stops all incoming damage on that item. On the screen, you can also purchase permanent upgrades like Forever Slot, which lets you save items temporarily, kind of like you can in Tetris. One of my favorites here is the Packing Assistant, where a little speech bubble pops up telling you what items are coming down the belt next. Now, this is super helpful and really fun to develop as an idea and implement into the game. The idea behind being able to buy temporary boosts and permanent upgrades is to help add a bit of randomness and excitement to regular play. Then, as you earn money, buy boosts and upgrades, and learn the ropes of Checkout Champ, you get closer to achieving your goal and beating the game. For a bit of quick background on myself, a couple of years ago I had no idea how to program at all. I'm a graphic designer in my full-time job, and I've done a little bit of programming here and there, but nothing really major. I've used game engines like Unity in the past at university, but that's well over a decade now. But apart from that, I haven't had any other experience in game development. After randomly watching a few YouTube videos, I stumbled on Godot. It was immediately super appealing as it was open source, free, and avoided any of the seemingly, super greedy overreach that engines like Unity were experiencing at the time. First, I had to learn how to program. And in Godot's own documentation, they recommended doing Harvard's CS50 course. So that's what I ended up doing. I started working on it at the end of 2023 and finished up early 2024. As part of my final project, I made a really basic game based off an old Flash game that I used to play when I was a kid. After passing the course, I started working on Checkout Champ and learning Godot at the same time. So this was my first real attempt at a full game with actual progression and at least some polish. It's been a year of on and off development. Most of the time was spent on learning, not just how to code, but how to design levels, handle touch inputs, make things feel responsive, and balancing things like difficulty. There were plenty of roadblocks along the way. I completely rewrote how the item dragging system worked halfway through. I struggled with responsive UI, and I rebuilt the upgrade shop twice before I landed on something that made sense. Being able to drag items into bags was a surprisingly annoying challenge to address right from the get-go in my initial prototype. I started by using static objects for this and trying to program my own gravity. I also experimented with a more Tetris style gravity where items slowly move down and you could position them block by block left and right via the keyboard. But after at least a month of bashing my head against the wall on this problem, I opted to use Godot's built-in rigid body 2D nodes, their own physics system, and mouse and touch inputs instead. Having every customer enter the scene with a random selection of items was also a really tricky problem to solve for me, as I had to build a dictionary full of objects and their properties, then use that to generate an item list. The item list then has to go through various checks to make sure all the selected items fit inside the designated number of bags for the current difficulty level. It also needs to be possible to place all the items in the bag without breaking some of them and frustrating the player. This was also a really challenging problem for me as a beginner developer, but once I managed to sort it out and have the item generation be 100% random, it was really super satisfying. The version that's live now is a free demo. It's got a tutorial, one full round of levels, a couple VIP levels, and a handful of bags and upgrades to play with. You can play it right now in your browser on itch.io or download it for Android if you want a proper mobile experience. I tried to keep the pace fast and fun, so levels are, at least in my opinion, short and satisfying, and everything has a bit of personality, from the customers to the sound effects to the little animations when things go wrong. My goal now with the game is just to see if there's any interest. I'd love to keep developing it further, as I've already got other features in the game like new bag types, more customer designs, more boosts and upgrades, and VIP customers. I also have rough plans for an endless mode like what you'd see on a game like Balatro, which was a game that acted as a source of inspiration for the likes of the boost and upgrade system. I would love to create a version for PC and Steam, changing up the layout a bit, similar to how Papers, Please is laid out. Like Balatro, Papers, Please was also another source of inspiration for the game in terms of how the characters enter and exit the scene. For now though, I just want people to try it and tell me what they think. And in the case there's not enough interest in it, I'm more than happy to start prototyping a few other ideas I have. With all that said, if Checkout Champ sounds interesting to you, you can play the demo now for free. I've dropped the link in the description. If you try it, please let me know what you think, even if it's just a quick comment or a bit of feedback. I'm genuinely curious whether this has legs or if I should move on to the next idea. Thanks for watching.